added. Hello? 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 Hello, hello, hello? 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 Why is my mic not being... Is it picking it up? R2-D2, try to increase power. Hello? You guys got it? Hey guys, can you hear me now? You missed my whole spiel about how I made this beautiful Twitch thing today. How I wanted to show off my awesome new Twitch stuff for Halloween season. So yeah, I did all this beautiful work and made sure that all this looked nice, and I completely forgot to add an audio source. So had to go in and do that. Yeah. Sometimes you just get so caught up in what you're doing, you don't think about things like that, I guess. That's pretty cool. That I just completely forgot. You know, one of the most important parts of, streaming is actually having audio so people can hear you. Big thank you to Ethan, who just joined my Patreon. So he's my first Patreon person. Thank you so much. Like, that's awesome. I really enjoy doing this, and I think it's fun. And I know the Bible's not always the funnest thing to do, but I am enjoying at least reading it through. Thank you. Yes, I tried my best to make it look pretty. I wanted to go with a Halloween theme and make it look great for October, because Halloween's my favorite holiday, so. And now I have a pet too. We have Gizmo over here that you can feed if you want to feed him, and he grows, so. I don't know. I just wanted more fun, interactive things you guys can do while I'm reading the Bible, because I know it sometimes can get boring, and, just have some fun things you guys can do and look at, I guess, while we're reading. Yeah. I've had a pretty good day. Other than apparently forgetting my audio on here, so we will get back to what I was talking about before. So I was talking about what we read yesterday. We read about the golden calf and how, Aaron came to Moses and said, well, I got some gold and threw it in a fire, and this calf just came out. So, magic. Magic calf that just came out of fire. And then Moses was really angry, and he threw the tablets that God had just written the 10 Commandments on and broke them into pieces. And then we went to the part where Moses then tells people, like, well, if you're for me and God, then you need to come on my side, and if you're not, then don't. And then the ones that came to Moses' side ended up going through the camp and killing a lot of people for worshiping a god other than their God. So that's where we left off, pretty much, I think, is the golden calf and just what happened to people because they had, like, Chippy Pop. Yeah, they had disobeyed. So their punishment was death, because if you know the God of the Old Testament, death is pretty much his standard for anything. So today we're going to read 34 and 35, and it's going to go, we're going to go more into the story about Moses and talk about the second commandments that he gets, because he broke the first ones, so he doesn't have the first ones anymore. So he's gonna have to go back up on the mountain and get new ones again. So we will see how he does that. If you want to read along, I'm reading in Exodus 33 and 34 in the NIV version. I also just realized that I didn't fix my green screen either. Dagnabbit, you keep trying, but there's always something, right? One day I will get this all... Oh, probably not. I'm sure there's even, like, professional people that don't get everything, like, perfect all the time, so... Sadly, I'm gonna have to fix that. Part of me wants to fix it now, part of me wants to read. Okay. Don't mind my green screen. It's there. It's supposed to be black, and I just realized it. Actually, I could probably fix it. I'm just over here adjusting things. Very Halloween. Yeah, it looks Halloween-y. I mean, it kind of goes with it. It definitely goes with my theme, because I'd got the whole, like, original Karen. Yeah, I got the whole, like, ghoul, like, eyes and green stuff, so I thought it was pretty cool. Fix it. I'm fixing it. I'm trying to fix it. Fix it, Felix. Okay. We will get there. There it is. Ta-da! Nice. Yay! It's fixed. Okay. I need to pay attention to things, apparently, because I got so caught up in other stuff today. I was going for the look and not so much the, actually making sure I had other things I needed. Oh, well. Okay. Exodus 33, shall we? Then the Lord said to Moses, "Leave this place, you and the people you brought out of Egypt, and go to the land I promised on oath to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give it to your descendants. I will send an angel before you and drive out the Canaanites, Amorites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Go up to the land flowing with milk and honey, but I will not go with you, because you are a stiff-necked people, and I might destroy you on the way." There's those anger issues again that God has. When the people heard these distressing words, they began to mourn, and no one put on any ornaments, for the Lord had said to Moses, "Tell the Israelites, you are a stiff-necked people. If I were to go with you even for a moment, I might destroy you. Now take off your ornaments, and I will decide what to do with you." So the Israelites stripped off their ornaments at Mount Horeb. The tent of meeting. Now Moses used to take a tent and pitch it outside the camp, some distance away, calling it the tent of meeting. Anyone inquiring of the Lord would go to the tent of meeting outside of the camp. And whenever Moses went out to the tent, all the people rose and stood at the entrance of their tents, watching Moses until he entered the tent. As Moses went into the tent, the pillar of cloud would come down and stay at the entrance while the Lord spoke with Moses. Whenever the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the entrance to the tent, they all stood and worshipped at the entrances of their tents. The Lord would speak to Moses face to face, just as one friend speaks to another. Then Moses would return to the camp, but his young aide Joshua, son of Nun, did not leave the tent. Moses and the glory of the Lord. Moses said to the Lord, "You have been telling me, lead these people, But you have not let me know who you will send with me. You have said, I know you by my name, and you have found favor with me. But if you are pleased with me, teach me your ways, so I may know you and continue to find favor with you. Remember that this nation is your people. The Lord replied, My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. Then Moses said to him, If your presence does not go with us, do not send us up from here. How will anyone know that you are pleased with me and with your people unless you go with us? What else will you distinguish me from your people from all the other people on the face of the earth? Then Moses said, Now show me your glory. And the Lord said, I will cause all my goodness to pass in front of you, and I will proclaim my name, the Lord, in your presence. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I have compassion. But he said, You cannot see my face, for no one man may see me and live. Then the Lord said, There's a place near me where you may stand on a rock. When my glory passes by, I will put you in the cleft of the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will remove my hand, and you will see my back, but my face must not be seen. The new stone tablets. The Lord said to Moses, Chisel out 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and I will write on them the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke. Be ready in the morning, and then come up on Mount Sinai. Present yourself there to me on the top of the mountain. Not even the flocks and herds may graze in front of the mountain. So Moses chiseled out the 2 stone tablets like the first one, and went up to Mount Sinai early in the morning. Just as the Lord had commanded him, he carried the 2 stone tablets in his hands. Then the Lord came down in the cloud, and he stood there with him, and proclaimed his name, the Lord. He passed in front of Moses, proclaiming, the Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness, maintaining love for thousands, and forgiving wickedness, rebellion, and sin. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children and their children for the sins of their parents to the 3rd and 4th generations. Slow to anger, huh? I feel like that's just not a true statement. Moses bowed to the ground at once and worshipped. The Lord said, If I have found favor in your eyes, then let the Lord go with us. Although this is a stiff-necked people, forgive our wickedness and our sin, and take us as your inheritance. Then the Lord said, I am making a covenant with you. Before all your people, I will do wonders, never before done in any nation in all the world. The people you live among will see how awesome is the work that I, the Lord, will do for you. Obey what I have commanded you today. I will drive out before you the Amorites, Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. Be careful not to make a treaty with those who live in the land where you are going, or they will be a snare among you. Break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, and cut down their Asherah poles. Do not worship any other god, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God. Be careful not to make a treaty with those who live in the land, for when they prostitute themselves to their gods and sacrifice to them, they will invite you and will eat their sacrifices. And when you choose some of their daughters as wives for your sons, and those daughters prostitute themselves to the gods, this will lead your sons to do the same. Do not make any idols. Celebrate the festival of unleavened bread. For 7 days eat bread made without yeast, as I commanded you. Do this at the appointed time in the month of Aviv, for in that month you came out of Egypt. The first offspring of every womb belongs to me, including the firstborn males of your livestock, whether from herd or flock. Redeem the firstborn donkey with a lamb of your livestock. Oh, the lamb. But if you do not redeem it, break its neck. Redeem all of your firstborn sons. No one is to appear before me empty-handed. 6 days you shall labor, but on the 7th you shall rest. Even during the plowing season and harvest, you must rest. Celebrate the festival of weeks with the first fruits of the wheat harvest, and the festival of ingathering at the turn of the year. 3 times in a year all your men are to appear before the sovereign Lord, the God of Israel. I will drive out nations before you and enlarge your territory, and no one will covet your land when you go up 3 times each year to appear before the Lord your God. Do not offer the blood of a sacrifice to me, along with anything containing yeast, and do not let any sacrifices from the Passover festival remain until morning. There's that yeast part again. We've got, what do we say? God has 2 types of kryptonite, yeast and foreskins. He doesn't like those 2 things. Bring the best of the first fruits of your soil to the house of the Lord your God. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. Then the Lord said to Moses, write down these words, for in accordance with these words I have made a covenant with you and with Israel. Moses was there, and the Lord 40 days and 40 nights without eating bread or drinking water. And he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. The radiant face of Moses. When Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the covenant law in his hands, he was not aware that his face was radiant, because he had spoken with the Lord. When Aaron and all the Israelites saw Moses, his face was radiant, and they were afraid to come near him. But Moses called to them, so Aaron and all the leaders of the community came back to him, and he spoke to them. Afterwards, all the Israelites came near him, and he gave them all the commands the Lord had given him on Mount Sinai. When Moses finished speaking to them, he put a veil over his face. But whenever he entered the Lord's presence to speak with him, he removed the veil until he came out. And when he came out and told the Israelites what he had been commanded, they saw that his face was radiant. Then Moses would pull back the veil over his face until he went in to speak with the Lord. Dun, dun, dun. Maybe radiant face, yeah. Maybe Moses just found some type of nuclear energy or something that made his face glow. Like, I don't know. I'm sure that's not scientific at all, but, you know, that's what you always think about in movies. Like, if you see people, like, glowing or whatever, it's because of nuclear stuff, nuclear chemicals or something. Moses has the best skincare, apparently. We need to start, like, a skincare company. You can call it Moses's Radiant Face or something. New product line. That would be so funny. A green man. Maybe Moses was really just an alien. Maybe that's why he glowed. Do we know anything about aliens glowing? I don't know. Maybe he met aliens. Maybe God was just an alien. Okay, now I'm getting to conspiracy theories. Like, yeah. It's weird. It's odd to think about those kind of things. I mean, I don't think that's what really happened. I don't think any of these stories are true. I think a lot of them are just made up, but it's definitely, you have to wonder, like, what they mean by radiant face. Like, they say it's glowing, but, like, that's a hard thing to, like, picture. Just somebody's face just glowing. And it's always glowing, apparently, because they said he had to wear the veil for a long time, because every time he went in to meet with God, like, it would be glowing again. So it's, God apparently has some special glowing power. You see, it was aliens. No, I don't have the crazy hair to do that. Like, I'd have to go redo my hair before I could do some of that History Channel stuff. Yeah, it is interesting because, like, we read about the first 10 commandments. Like, we saw the ones that we normally see in Sunday school, like honor your father and mother, and do not kill, do not steal, and all that. But those commandments that he went up and got the second time were completely different commandments. Like, I don't think they even said any of the originals in that whole section that we read. The second tablets, which is interesting. So it's, yeah, they're very different and very. I still don't get the goat milk one. Like, don't boil a. Like, was that maybe it was a popular. It was a popular thing in their culture to do that, or in other cultures to do that, so they wanted to be different. Because I know, like, a lot of cultures, that was like a big reason that a lot of cultures like didn't eat pork and stuff, because they wanted to be separated from other cultures. So they thought the best way to do that was to like not eat pork. So I wonder if that whole like boil the goat in its mother's milk like is just like a cultural thing that they didn't want to like be within their tribe, because they wanted to be different than other tribes that were around them. I mean, it's possible. I guess anything is possible with the Bible because we have nothing to back it up. But, yeah. The second time was for Chinese knockoff. They just got people over there in China making tablets, I guess. Yeah, and then you got the whole like 40 days and nights thing too is very similar to, Jesus going out into the desert for 40 days and nights and, not eating or drinking anything. It's very similar in those aspects. And, we talked a lot about in the beginning how they, we would read a story and then we would go to a different story about a different person, but it was like the same story. And it's just a repeat. Like, they repeat stories for different people in the Bible. And if you actually look at, like, the Moses story where he goes up, 40 days, 40 nights, no food, no drink, except for he's a little bit different because he actually goes up and he's, like, with God, as opposed to Jesus, who goes out into the desert with Satan. But, I mean, I guess you could count Satan as a god. I mean, apparently he has powers to do some things. So, yeah, but it's very parallel to that. Like, it's almost the same story where they both go off by themselves. They're with a deity of some sort, and they don't eat or drink for 40 days. I think the only difference is, like, the one about Jesus was about being tempted and overcoming temptation, because apparently God has to overcome temptation. Even though if he's the same yesterday, today, and forever, like, that's not gonna do anything. So I don't know. Oh, a long time. Huh, I did not know that. Thanks, Tons of Mice, because that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that 40 days and nights was that kind of thing. Yes, it's true, Ethan. It's crazy. When we were reading, like, in Genesis, a lot of those stories, they were just the same story over and over again. And it's weird, too, because when we were reading in Abraham, I think it was Abraham, like 2 or 3 different times, different people, he told them that his wife was his sister, and that, and then they ended up taking his wife as their wife, and then God like punished the pharaoh or the king or whoever. But it was just like, this is the same story. And then down the road, I think that story is told again about his son Isaac, where Isaac does the same thing, where he goes and pulls the same stunt that his dad did, where him and his wife go out, and then he lies about her being his sister, and they take her, and then it's the king or pharaoh, whoever, like, God punishes them, and then they figure out that it's because it was not actually his sister but his wife. But yeah, I read that story like 3 or 4 different times in just Genesis, and I'm just like, if I hadn't sat here and read this like through like I have been, I would have never realized that these stories are exactly the same, and that they're even if they're about different people, like they're just the same story over and over again. And I have heard like different people who actually study the Bible like talk about how there's a lot of parallels between the Old Testament like prophets and stuff and Jesus. And I've never actually looked into like those kind of parallels, but I feel like the more that I read about it, like the more I'm gonna see those parallels and see how they just reused what they originally had from the Old Testament. So we'll see how all that works. But yeah, it's weird that, I mean, yes, humans, we can make up stories or whatever, but it's like, I feel like just retelling the story with someone else in the picture, like, is kind of an obvious thing to people, but I guess not. Oh yeah, Sarah was super old in that whole reading that we read about. She was like, I think she was in her 90s, which is weird because like I think he took her to his harem, which was probably not a bunch of 90-year-olds. It was probably like a bunch of teenage or 20-year-olds. I wouldn't doubt there were teenagers at that time. But still, yeah, I that's why I don't think a lot of these stories are, fact, because it doesn't make any sense unless God like gave Sarah like some sort of weird infinite beauty thing where she didn't look like she was 90 when she was actually 90. But you never know, because these stories are just so all over the place. Sometimes you're just like, this doesn't make sense, but God could, and that's the thing with Christianity. That's the thing that I've learned over time, is that you can pretty much say God, if you pretty much can say God can do anything, then these stories can be true, because God can make these stories happen. And I think that's the big problem with people who are raised in Christianity, because if you're raised in a literal Bible church like I was, there's no questioning outside of that. There's no looking into other things that tell you whether this is actually true or not. It's very much like, these things happened, and if they happened the way that the Bible say they happened, then God had a hand in it, because these things we know don't happen in real life. So the only way to make some of these things work is by just giving God all of the power and saying, God did it, and I'm human, and I don't know God's ways, and I don't have any reason or right to know God's ways, so I'm just gonna sit here and believe it because this is what I've been told. um, yeah, but that's what makes it. I feel like that's what makes it so hard to help people come out of the church too, is because when you've been so ingrained in it, and especially people who like ingrain themselves into it too, because I know people who have, excuse me, who like read their Bibles every day, and they, you know, they say they talk to God, and they say they know God, and that they say they've had these experiences with God that will never make them ever change their mind into believing that God's not real. But it's because they basically brainwash themselves every day and make it a real thing in their minds. So I don't know. It's hard for people like that because they are, and experience is a hard thing too, I think, because, you know, in my experience, I have never had any supernatural things ever happen to me. So from my perspective, like, the supernatural does not exist. And, you know, you have people who say they've seen, you know, they've talked to God, or they've seen ghosts, or they've seen aliens, or, I'm not saying aliens are supernatural, but, you know, I don't know. But for me, I don't have any reason to believe in the supernatural because, you know, I grew up in church, and I mean, I grew up in a Pentecostal church, like, not like just Bible believing, go to church every Sunday, good Christian people, like crazy jumping up and down in the aisles, speaking in tongues, like interpreting tongues, like all of that stuff. Like, I was raised in that, and I 100% believed that this stuff was real. But at the same time, it was like, I don't know, something, you know, when just something's off and you just can't figure it out. And maybe that was my problem, is that all these people were doing this stuff, and, you know, I really wanted to understand it, and I just never did. And I guess some people would say that means I wasn't a true Christian, but, you know, even though, you know, I very much dedicated my life to Christianity for the first 28, 29 years of my life, so, and like really, like, dedicated, like, I was in church every Sunday, I was in church every Wednesday, I did all the programs they had there, and then when I got older, like, I helped with youth group, and, you know, did a lot of stuff in the church. Like, like, my life was church. It was church and school, and my school was also a Bible-based school, so it was like I lived in a bubble. Hence my name, Overprotected Atheist, because I feel like those formative years of my life, I was living in a bubble because I didn't know anything outside of the Christian bubble, and I wasn't allowed to look at anything outside the Christian bubble that would hinder what they would call my walk with God. So, it took me a long time to finally look into things myself, but, you know, when I finally took that leap, it was worth it, because now I get to do this and talk to people from all over the world and read the Bible from a different perspective, and not the perspective of this is reality, regardless if you think it's real or not. And that's not how I want to live my life. So, I think for me, because of that, and not having those experiences, it very much solidified in me that I was not gonna continue being in Christianity. Because I felt like it was just a waste of my life for something that was promised to me that was never going to happen. So, but that's a hard thing, I think, too, is just figuring out life. And, you know, the church uses testimony as a huge part of that too, because, you know, they make it seem like other people's experiences can have an effect on what you believe. And once again, when you're raised in it, like I was, and people have testimonies and they have these experiences, you don't question them, you don't look into them, you don't, you know, think, well, maybe there are like 20 other things this thing could have been, but you are attributing it to your God because that's all you have known. So, and those are the things I never thought of, those things while I was in the church, honestly. I never sat there and went, oh, well, you seeing this supernatural entity could have just been your brain malfunctioning. Like, those weren't things that I thought of, because in my head, these things were real. Like, I was raised believing that demons were real and that they really could hurt you and they could really possess you, and you had to be careful with everything you do in life, because if you accidentally invite a demon into your life, then it could control you. And that's scary for a 9 or 10-year-old kid to hear at church. Like, I grew up, whenever I watched a horror movie, like, I thought these things existed. I thought they were going to harm me, and that at any second I could just be like, but yeah, I'm really glad to be on this side now, because I feel like it has helped my anxiety a lot with that, because I literally would like get panic attacks, like mostly in places that I was alone. Just this overwhelming fear, because I believed in things that didn't actually exist, but I didn't know they didn't exist because I was told they existed. So it's a never-ending cycle. But yeah, being an atheist now has helped my anxiety, and I definitely go and get more help than I did as a Christian, because as a Christian they always just tell you, oh, go pray about it, or oh, you're not giving this part of your life to God, and that's the problem. And it's like, there are so many deeper issues that come with some of those things that people just don't realize. And I think that's the hardest part, is that people don't think about that in the church. They don't think about just the unhealthiness of the way they treat people who might have mental illnesses or anxiety, or I guess anxiety could be a mental illness, but just those things that we know can be fixed through therapies and through medicine and things like that. And I think that helped me too, because when I came out of the church and seeing a therapist about it and getting on medication for my anxiety really calmed that worrying part of my brain down, I guess. So yeah, it's just, there's so many dangers that I see, not just in Christianity, but because that's what I was raised in. That's just how I see it. And yeah, I've just gone on a rant again. I've realized that once all of this happens, I just end up ranting at the end of this, because I'm trying to like talk about things from what I read in the Bible, and then it just ends up going off on a tangent. But doorknob head's a demon, huh? Which circle of hell are you from? Yeah, my religious trauma, I feel like there's still stuff I need to work on with that. And, I'll get there someday. Like, I'm someone who's had a lot of trauma in their life, so, you know, I'm pretty sure it's made me a very, not hard person, just stronger person because of it. But at the same time, I think sometimes I put on this mask of, oh, everything's fine, I'm great, because that's pretty much how I've had to live my life. And, yeah, it's not great. I need to be more able to process those feelings and stuff instead of trying to hide them and push them deep down inside, because I don't want to deal with them. Arctic Circle? I haven't had a hamburger from Arctic Circle in a long time. Now you're making me hungry. Anybody have anything to add about the reading, or I don't know, the Bible in general? I guess I've done my spiel for tonight. And my chat's over there talking about hamburgers and demons, so. Is there a hamburger joint in hell for demons? Do they get like breaks and stuff where they can actually go and like have lunch? That before they like have to go back and torture people? I don't know. That would be interesting. What would you call a hamburger joint in hell? Car chases. Chariot chases. We had a chariot chase. We had the Egyptians chasing the Israelites on their chariots. All their chariots, apparently, and all of their captains, and pretty much anyone who was in charge of Egypt. Because that's what the verse said. Because apparently God wanted to make sure he got rid of all the head people when they went into the waters. Are the hell fries spicy, or are they just... Because that sounds like something that would be spicy. Spicy. Or maybe they just come with spicy sauce. Spicy dipping sauce for your hell fries. Man, I'm just coming up with a bunch of, like, things tonight. We've got skincare products by Moses. And now we have a hamburger joint in hell with hell fries. Just giving me plenty of ideas for things I should mass produce. I just heard on the radio the other day, they were talking about French fries, and they said the top, like, vote for the best fries was Five Guys. They were the number one place. I love Five Guys. It's so good. Man, making me want hamburgers. I should not eat hamburgers. It's not good for me. Yeah, ah! Whoops. Okay. Yeah, I think hamburgers and steak are my downfall, because I have high cholesterol and I love meat, so that makes it hard for me, because I always want cheeseburgers, and I shouldn't want cheeseburgers. I need to eat more fruits and veggies and less meat. Yeah, but Chick-fil-A isn't open on Sunday. So that would just suck. Maybe that's part of being in hell. You can only get Chick-fil-A's on Monday through Saturday. It's getting late. I should go to bed, but it's Friday night and part of me just wants to like hang out. But at the same time, it's like I probably should sleep because I have been sick lately, and although I have been sleeping a lot, it's one thing when you get a cold, that's all your body wants to do is sleep. That's all I've wanted to do for like this whole week. There's no Sundays. We'll have to rename Sunday then. Well, thank you all for coming, and thank you, Ethan, for being my first Patreon supporter. That's really awesome. I'm really thankful that I have this ability to do this for people, and that people can come here and hang out and read along the Bible with me. I know I'm probably not as entertaining as like Hannah and Jake, but I feel like this is definitely something I like doing, and I want to continue to do my reading as much as I can every day, at least Monday through Fridays. So on that note, yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitch, if you're not following me on Twitch, I'm on Twitch, Overprotected Atheist. I'm on YouTube, Overprotected Atheist. I have a Twitter, which is OP_atheist. I have a Patreon. That's Overprotected Atheist over there. I have a website, overprotectedatheist.com. I have a Teespring if you want to buy any of, cool shirts or anything that I have over there. You can do that too. Yeah. I don't know. I have a lot of things. I am a one-woman show. I do all of this by myself, and I literally manage all these things by myself. So, anyways, if you guys want to go follow me on any of those or anything, you can. I think my next YouTube video that I'm working on, I've got like 3 or 4 different ideas for like Halloween animations that I'm going to try to do if I can get to those. So hopefully in the next coming weeks I can get some of those up on my YouTube, because I know people like my animations. So oh my god, I forgot about Pop-Tart. Jesus, that seems like so long ago. Oh god, I need an emoji of that. Somebody make a Pop-Tart Jesus emoji for me. We can put it on here. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go now. Now that I remember Pop-Tart Jesus. I hope you all have a good night, morning, evening, day, whatever time it is where you are. It's 11 o'clock here, so I am gonna get ready to sleep soon. Hope you guys have a good night. I don't know if I'll be on it all this weekend, but if my next Bible reading will probably be on Mondays, because I'm doing these Mondays through Fridays, and I'm trying to do them later at night when everybody's asleep, or in the daytime when my kids are in school. But I'm also working and stuff now, so I'm trying to make everything work right now. So, but yeah, thank you guys all for your support and for being here. And that is my cue to go. Bye.